Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Harakakadash. The bonus to the apostles and elders, great most under rule well, and Shalom to the brothers doing the work of serious truth, pushing his word to the full corners. I got this article on Fox, New York, where it says what Metro Detroit man implants Tesla key into hand to unlock start car. And I was like, oh, the guy must have just got the Tesla key fob thing, I'm guessing, implanted. But, he'd already got multiple chips. Well, sorry, he got multiple chips. He got a chip for already. The Tesla one was just the second one that he got. I'll play it because
no house key.
So 2 weeks gave you the idea that you wanted to really be a walking computer.
So I've always been a tech enthusiast, and I always try to be on the cutting edge of technology.
So that drove Brandon DeLong.
Yeah, he said what? He's always been a tech enthusiast on the cutting edge. That's a big part of the kind of angle. Just in the general public, the simpletons that are just out here, that they max that thing up. They're double jabbed in that, they've basically boosted and all that, all that stuff there. Them guys have been complying. For them, they, as far as they see it, they've bought into Esau's. They've bought into Esau's system. As far as for them, they just see, the next step of like where smartphones and Apple Watches and all these things are going. That like the next step would just be, okay, you just start integrating. You start turning into the bionic man. The $1 million man. Cause that's the mindset that's kind of been built with, like, Hollywood's played a big part. Because that's why he's just like, he said he's always on the cutting edge. He's seeing it like, okay, the next edge is going to be, these implants, getting these microchips inside you. Because why? That's, you thinking, just integrate, you get an AI in your brain. You turn superhuman more or less. These are the things that they're looking at. He'll be looking at Neuralink like, yeah. When that's available, I'll jump on it.
DeLawley to do what some might believe only takes place in a science fiction movie.
It gets inserted into your skin.
A chip, and not the type you eat, but a microchip, has been implanted in Brandon's left hand.
This one is just a little guy right there.
Yeah, I see that right there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So after that was inserted and the swelling went down, I'm able to open up the front and back door to my house. I can walk up to people and have them tap their phone to my hand and instantly transfer my contact information, my portfolio, my COVID.
Yeah, and these all things that a lot of the the trips that have been out, they've been doing. Because I remember one of the first angles they used was to have it with patients, like terminally ill patients, or just being older, and say you have your medical records on it, or you have the stuff you're allergic to, etc., or someone to contact, all these things basically accessible on it. And then as well, the other one is obviously like pets, like shipping pets. But as far as for, where that kind of angle, that's how it starts with, like, oh, it's a security kind of a way of securing your shit or whatnot. But obviously the range gets broader. Well, I think you say anyway.
Vax card.
But Brandon got to thinking, why stop there? He's got two hands, right?
And tap their phone to my hand and instantly transfer my contact.
Yeah, so he said, his contact details. He uses it for his has and all that. He's basically just integrated it into everything because like he said, he's on the cutting edge. He's thinking, oh, this is just gonna be the norm. You're gonna go somewhere like now. It's funny because I remember it was what 2007 or something. I remember going to like college, and then you having to use like a card to tap into an ID card to just tap in to get into the building. I remember thinking like, damn, to wherever you're studying, you'd kind of have access to those places with your card, with other buildings you wouldn't be able to get into. And I remember thinking back then, like, damn, like, oh, it's kind of crazy. Like, you just, you're going through like a train station or whatever. But then now that's every building, every not high rise. What's the term? Every skyscraper, all these big offices where you have, these massive companies. All of them will have in the foyer a little card tapping thing. All these different staff members now, they all just will have an ID card with their face on it, maybe their department or job description or whatever, some basic details, and then it will be ID card, RFID, where they can just then go NFC, and then that they'll be able to tap and engage with all these different systems. And that's become the norm. It's like some places, even to get to like the toilet, you need to have have it where you can tap and access these things, and that's become the normal. So he's looking at like, okay, the way now you're doing it with a card, it will just go to where you just get it implanted. And this is, these are going to be angles because this is a guy he's basically ahead of the curve. He's gone and embedded himself within that system without even, ESO having to start pushing it on a much wider scale. And you got a lot of people, these guys call themselves biohackers. But in what it's showing, well, regardless as well, it's like a lot of people, the way they see society is that's just kind of, the way things are gonna go. They're just not really going out of their way to engage with it. But, hey, I'm going to see.
Contact information, my portfolio, my COVID vax card.
But Brandon got to thinking, why stop there? He's got two hands, right? And plenty of room for more chips.
So I thought, how cool would it be if I could leave my house, no car key, no house key.
So 2 weeks ago, right here in Michigan, Brandon got another chip implanted, this one in his right hand, to unlock and start his Tesla.
It's a perfect backup, something you can never forget, something that doesn't break, something that won't fail you.
And if you think having...
Nah. It's like, you said something that can't break, something you never lose. These are all the angles. As far as for the average Joe, this is how to be, and they're just like, oh, okay, so I can just, or an older person might be up in age and be like, okay, I don't want to be able to lose, blah blah blah. They might have to, they could even with in the UK you've got a travel card which would be for like retirees. I think it's like 65 plus or something. I can't remember. It's basically being up in age. You'll basically get free transport on the underground. I remember it's even with TFL. I remember back in like, what was it, 2006 or 2005. They basically that's when they started for school kids, giving them free travel and that was when they were moving over to oysters. So they basically gave every school kid an unlimited oyster to travel like on bus, and I think underground as well for free. But obviously you'd need to take a picture, and then you'd have the card there. And it just seemed like, yeah, just free transport, doing that. Now I remember seeing like, because some Jake man showed me. I can't remember if I saw it or Jake. I feel like a Jake showed it to me, man. An article basically talking about the police using the free Oyster cards to kind of not even set someone up, just kind of arrest someone and throw them in jail, because they said like, yeah, the travel history, the time he traveled on his Oyster card made it bait that like obviously was there, and then like he left, and then they'll get cameras in the station and whatnot, and that more or less was enough, that evidence kind of baseline to go off and incriminate the guy. So even from then, it's like, these free things, these things are just offered. They obviously come with a catch, but it's just like, yeah, most people will just mess with it. They ain't really too bothered, and that's
Having chips implanted in your body requires a doctor or is costly. Well, think again.
The chips themselves are anywhere from between $200 and $300, and the install only ran me about $100 because you can go to a local piercing shop who will obviously agree to do the installation. All the programming and coding of putting the apps on the chip, that's all done by me.
Moving forward, Brandon is thinking about having other chips implanted in his body.
So it'll be inserted right under or right over your breast, and then you can...
Where Brandon is thinking about having other chips implanted in his body.
So it'll be inserted right under or right over your breast, and then you can tap your phone to your chest and instantly get temperature readings.
And with all this talk about chips, Brandon hopes the chip.
So he's fully into that the biohacking, because he's just trying to have all that where just have chips everywhere, and then you just okay. He's basically looking at like he's gonna become some kind of superhuman on some kind of super level, man.
Chip for the Tesla gets the attention of you-know-who.
It would make all this worth it if maybe just like a thumbs up from Elon or something, or a simple emoji. I don't know, that'd be pretty cool.
A thumbs up from Elon. Man wants Elon to I'm like, bruh, it's it's you're slightly ahead of the curve, but everyone's gonna be joining you soon. Ain't that deep, bro? Let me see if there's anything more. Yeah, that's actually just the same. Yeah, but yeah, this this guy's obviously bought into it. He's bought into it. He's seeing it like, yeah, just future and that and whatever. But what's actually being engaged with? It's a whole different system. Revelation 13:16 it says, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Yeah. And that mark, that charagma, is, talking about that implantable microchip, man, the RFID. And, hey, it's like, the guy's he went into it. You can get the chips, you can do this, you can do that, you can do all kinds of things there. But, the main angle that the mark's going to come through is what? It's financial. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Yeah. So basically, to engage with the system, to engage in the monetary, it's going to be required. It's going to be essential. And the guy's even, he said he's getting multiple. So It's a thing where it might even just be like, okay, you just get, you know, the one. You obviously get the one according to prophecy, but then, you know, people will be jumping on multiple, because that's it's funny you mention that you can go to a tattoo place to get done, because it's like, even with tattoos, it's one of those things where it's like, most people, they get one, they'll go back, they get two, they get three, they get four, they'll be jumping on it. And that's how it's going to be with a Karagma. People are going to be jumping on, because why? They're going to be looking like, okay, you know, it's there to engage with the system. Like I said, it's like, you know, safety, security, whatever. But they're just going to be, the main thing is they're going to be looking to comply. Because why? It says what? Psalms 49 and 10, it says so like 11, it says their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call lands after their own names. These guys are thinking Esau's going to rule forever. They're thinking it's going to get to the point where it'll be like Star Trek. It'll be like some far distant future where they're all in space. Everyone's talking about, well, who is it? Is it NASA? NASA, I believe, said, oh yeah, we're going back to the moon after blah 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 many years. You know, which that's complete clownery. They didn't go there in the first place. And then they're saying going from the moon, and then they're looking to go to Mars as well. I'm just like, all the deep people are actually out here believing and you know, trusting in that. Thing is there'll be certain things Esau will do, because it's just like with you know, Virgin Galactic and the hell is the other one? Not Blue. I think it was Blue something. The Amazon one. Well, Blue Spirit. I don't think it was that. And then so it's Virgin. It was thinking on Tesla as well. Tesla. Basically doing like space travel, but you know, that's hitting the stratosphere is one thing, but then you know, these people are thinking about, you know, you take a 747 to Mars, you know, round trip in a few hours, and hey, that's it. They're completely invested. They're you know, minds within this place, man. Even read this back in Revelation 13. It says what Revelation 13 and 4, and they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who's able to make war with him? And there was given him unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. Yeah, so it says what? They worship the beast, saying, who's like unto him, who's able to make war with him? Oh, it's actually on 3. It says what? And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. Yeah, everyone's wondering, everyone's enamored, everyone's, you know, watching it, and they're just like, damn, you know, who, as it says, who, you know, who's able to make war with him? Who's able to contend with this guy? This guy's on such a super level. There's nothing to be done. You just got to bend down and comply, and that's the mindset of hella people. That's, you know, that's why they're gonna take the Karagma. Jake especially. Jake is gonna jump on it, because why? It's same thing they've done for a while. Jeremiah 2:33. It says what? Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Therefore hast thou also taught the wicked one thy ways. Yeah. Jake had trimming their way to find love. Because why? That's why, you know, they're always thinking about what their lovers. always thinking about their lovers, man. Jeremiah 3:1, it says, and they say, if a man put his wife away and go, and she go from him and become another man's, shall he return unto her again? Shall not that land be greatly polluted? But thou hast played the harlot with many lovers, yet return again to me, saith the Lord Jehovah. Lift up thine eyes unto the high places, and see where thou hast been lying in with, has been lying with. In the ways hast thou sat for them, as the Arabian in the wilderness, and thou hast polluted the land with thy whoredoms and thy wickedness. Well, played the harlot, had all these lovers, then what? Laying out there with all kinds of heathens, and Esau's just a new big one for now, which, it says the whole world's wondering. Hey, the majority of Jake at the head of that, man. They're completely invested. They're within the system, just looking like, yo. They just, they just want to come up, man. They want some hope. They want something to work out, man. They want it all to be good. That's what Jake's after. Read this, First Maccabees 1 and 9. It says, after his death, they will put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils multiplied in the earth. So yeah, when these Greeks came into power, these different Greek rulers that came, and instead of Alexander, then what? Evils were multiplied in the earth. And they said what? And they came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus named Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome, and he reigned in 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. In those days, went out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we've had much sorrow. And yeah, you had, back in the time of the Greeks, what? Jakes went out, they made a covenant, they basically set themselves up with what? With the heathen, with Esau then, and now what you have happening in the current time. That same thing's going down, but what? It's that's all being encapsulated within that mark, that karugma. That's the means by which that that covenant's gonna be had, because that's essentially a mark to show what that for Jake really, because it only applies to Jake. The what they're completely subjugating themselves to Esau, rather than Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So it's them finding a lot, it's them sticking with their lovers. It's them basically, having faith within Esau's system for that to go on. So in those days went out of Israel wicked men, persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we've had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Yeah. So they're linking up with the king to get on an even higher level of doing madness. Now you're gonna have it where it all comes to a head. It culminates in what? That karugma, that mark. That's gonna be the ultimate sign to show, what, where your allegiances lie. Either they're gonna lie with Esau, they're gonna lie with your system, and whatever you think you can get out of it in the meantime, or you basically gonna not take it and have faith, it's something better to come. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom. Shalom.